Black man adopts 6-year-old girl that everyone hated. Years later, he discovers a shocking truth about them. Julius made a brave decision to embrace fatherhood to a set of sextuplets, despite facing criticism from others. After 10 long years, the most surprising revelation about them was finally unveiled. During the drive back to his house, Julius glanced back at his rearview mirror. The 2 girls sat in front of him, and 4 of the girls were in the back of his pickup truck. The 4 girls at the back were silent, just like the ones in the front. The car was very quiet, as if they were headed to a somber occasion rather than their new residence. Their expressions lacked any sense of joy. They appeared numb and neutral. It was the type of look someone had after going through numerous letdowns and no longer bothered getting their hopes up. Julius had just left the orphanage after completing all the necessary paperwork to become the legal guardian of the sextuplets. They were now his adopted daughters, and he had become their father. He saw himself as a father, fully embracing his children as part of himself without any distinction. Julius had a strong commitment to whatever he pursued. He had embraced these girls as his own, and he was determined to stand by that choice, no matter what. The sextuplets had been in the orphanage for 5 years. As per the caretakers of the orphanage, the girls became orphans at the age of 4 and had been residing in various orphanages ever since. Their story was heart-wrenching and had been what motivated Julius to take the step of adopting them. It appeared to be a spontaneous choice to the onlookers, but Julius had a strong conviction about the decision he had made. The sextuplets were 9 years old, and they all shared the same birthday. Julius was amazed by this. He was about to meet his first set of sextuplets, and he had a feeling that this would be a unique experience. All the girls had unique features, yet there was a striking similarity amongst them. Their young beauty was undeniable. Julius was surprised by the fact that they hadn't been adopted. That was before the caretakers had shared the girls' tragic story with Julius. The girls had been transferred to various orphanages. They were housed by the first orphanage for a year and a half. They had never stayed in an orphanage for such a long time before. While residing in the initial orphanage, the girls experienced fear and exhibited symptoms of PTSD. They went through child therapy for a few months before they began speaking, playing without inhibition, and forming connections with other children. Soon after, numerous couples expressed interest in adopting the girls. However, all of them were hesitant to take all 6 girls at once. Instead, they expressed a desire to welcome a girl or 2 into their family. The caretakers were relieved that the girls would be adopted, considering the challenges of taking 6 of them. They had hoped that with 4 couples adopting a girl or 2, all girls would find loving homes. However, the girls were adamant about not being separated. They had expressed their emotions loudly, shedding tears and showing their displeasure whenever any of their sisters had received an offer to be adopted. They had done this many times, and their caretakers had become irate. The caretakers opted to explore a different approach. They reached out to couples who desired children and proposed a trial period of living with the girls to determine if they were able to adopt all 6 of them. In the initial family the girls resided with, the wife developed a strong dislike for them within a short period of time. She alleged that the girls had taken away her husband's love and attention. Due to this reason, the girls were returned to the orphanage. They were eventually transferred to another orphanage. The second orphanage had also arranged for the girls to temporarily stay with another couple. Everything had been going well for a few weeks until the wife of the house discovered she was pregnant. During the 2nd month of her pregnancy, she became sick, and the husband accused the girls of being witches and trying to harm his wife and unborn child. The girls were returned to the orphanage and later transferred to a different one. Similar to the previous orphanages, the 3rd orphanage had arranged for the girls to be placed with another couple. This couple was known for their strong religious beliefs, and they were highly respected by the people in their community. Unexpected problems arose when the couple lost valuable jewelry and money that they were holding for others. Instead of taking responsibility for their actions, they unjustly accused the girls of theft and subjected them to a brutal beating as a form of punishment. The girls were 7.5 years old when this occurred. they had gathered and quietly devised a scheme to escape. They were able to achieve their goal and decided to report the situation to the authorities. The police brought the couple in for questioning, and their investigations had uncovered other unsettling findings. The woman was engaged in an extramarital relationship, while the man had been participating in some gambling activities. Almost overnight, the couple's reputation was completely shattered, and the sextuplets were unjustly held responsible by the community. The girls were transferred to an orphanage out of state due to the strong animosity towards them. That was the fourth orphanage. After a few months, the fourth orphanage that they were living in closed down, and they were transferred to a fifth orphanage. Various issues had continued to arise at different orphanages until they finally reached the ninth one, where Julius discovered them. Everyone had become extremely frustrated with the girls by this point and desired to distance themselves from them. The director of the orphanage informed the girls that they still have a possibility of being adopted, but they would need to be separated. The girls had been feeling down and exchanged worried glances. They had tried their best to remain united, but their efforts were in vain. They would need to bid farewell. Julius entered the orphanage during a difficult time. Julius worked as a florist, providing his services to the director of the orphanage. The director of the orphanage had plans to beautify the grounds with vibrant flowers in preparation for the upcoming visit from major sponsors. Julius overheard the director informing the girls that the journey had reached its conclusion, and they would need to part ways. Julius couldn't shake the haunting reaction of the girls, which stirred a profound sense of compassion within him. He confidently approached the director's office and shared his spacious residence, extending a warm invitation for all the girls to come and live there. Julius, a black man, was not discouraged by the fact that the girls were white. He was fully prepared and eager to assume responsibility for them. The management of the orphanage was overjoyed when Julius expressed his sincere desire to bring the girls to live at his house. Just to clarify, they asked him a few questions to confirm his eligibility as a guardian. Julius was a widower, living with his mom, who was in her 50s. They both earned a decent income that would support their entire family, including the girls. Anyway, the orphanage had made an agreement to provide Julius with a monthly payment for taking care of the girls. He declined, explaining to management that he wasn't interested in bringing the girls to live with him as a trial. He graciously welcomed them into his home, treating them as his own daughters and embracing the role of a loving father. He was eager to embrace them wholeheartedly. Everyone regarded him with disbelief. However, they allowed him to adopt them. After a few weeks, the adoption process was finalized at Julius's house. Mildred, his mom, was eagerly looking forward to meeting the girls. She adored children, and Julius had already shared with her the girls' story. She empathized with their suffering. They had endured a lot, despite being just 9 years old. She aimed to create a welcoming atmosphere and provide them with a sense of ease. She saw the sextuplets as her beloved grandchildren, finally reunited after a long time apart. She continued to ensure their proper upbringing. Mildred had an additional reason to be overjoyed about the adoption of the girls. Julius had been feeling a deep sense of solitude for the past 5 years, following the tragic loss of his wife during childbirth. He had not pursued any romantic relationships or attempted to form a new family. He had lived with his mother in a spacious 5-bedroom duplex on the outskirts of the city. He cultivated the flowers he had provided for his business on that land and also maintained a small garden. Since the girls arrived at his house, Julius had been taking care of all the basics and additional needs as instructed by his mom. However, the girls remained withdrawn and quiet for weeks. They expressed gratitude at the appropriate moments and only spoke when addressed, neither more nor less. The girls behaved in this manner due to their cautious nature. They had expressed living with several individuals in the past, who started off friendly but eventually became unfriendly. Julius and Mildred were not fans of the girls' formal and uncomfortable demeanor. They were unsure of how to make it more relaxed. They consistently showed kindness towards the girls, offering gentle corrections when needed and taking an interest in their preferences. Despite their frustration with the girls' repetitive responses, They endured and eventually saw results. While dusting the sitting room, Ju unfortunately broke a family heirloom that Mildred cherished dearly. Ju felt a strong sense of fear and had a strong urge to escape. She was worried that Mildred might become aggressive and kick her and her sisters out because of it. Upon entering the sitting room, Mildred immediately noticed the damaged heirloom and hurried over to Ju's side. "Did you injure yourself? Do you have any injuries? Would you like to schedule an appointment with a doctor?" Mildred asked the questions quickly, and one after another. She carefully scanned every inch of Ju, ensuring that she was unharmed. Ju was taken aback by Mildred's lack of desire to punish her and her genuine concern for her well-being. She started crying, and Mildred embraced her tightly, providing comfort. Following that incident, the girls realized that Julius and his mom were genuinely kind-hearted individuals who genuinely cared about them. Over time, the girls began to trust them and embraced the feeling of being part of a genuine family. While a few of the girls assisted Mildred with household tasks and cooking, the remaining girls received guidance from Julius on cultivating flowers in the garden. They provided assistance in tending to the flowers, which allowed him to cultivate a greater quantity of flowers and expand his garden. The girls truly enjoyed participating in those activities, and they did so willingly. They also found joy in every activity, bringing warmth to the hearts of Julius and Mildred. Once, Mildred decided to host a bake sale just for the joy of it. She and a group of friends baked a variety of treats that quickly sold out, leaving many customers wanting more. They earned a substantial amount of money and contemplated starting a baking venture. In addition, Julius received an influx of clients seeking his expertise in florist services. With an abundance of flowers available, he successfully fulfilled all the orders. He began earning a higher income, which allowed him to frequently delight the girls with considerate presents. After 2 years of living with him, Julius decided to ask the girls if they wanted to do something fun. To his delight, they all expressed their interest in going on a camping trip. Julius rented a van and took care of all the preparations for a one-night camping adventure. He preferred a concise video in case they didn't enjoy the experience and wished to return home quickly. However, he and his mom received an unexpected surprise during their journey. By the campfire, the girls joyfully sang a song in unison. Every member possessed a unique voice that seemingly blended and harmonized with one another. Mildred and Julius were completely astonished. They were completely unaware of the girls' hidden talent. Upon their return from the camping trip, Mildred approached the choir leader at the church, earnestly requesting her assistance in enhancing the girls' singing abilities. As soon as the choir teacher heard the sextuplets sing, she was completely convinced. The girls were thrilled to have a professional mentor who would assist them in honing their singing abilities. They enjoyed singing together, but up until now, they had hesitated to perform in front of Julius and Mildred. They began practicing 4 times a week under the guidance of the choir teacher. After a whole year, the choir leader decided to register them for performances at the nearby events and celebrations. The girls kept honing their skills and steadily progressed. They were able to effortlessly master various styles and put on a captivating performance for Julius and Mildred. Several years later, when the girls reached the age of 19, an exciting talent competition emerged. By this time, the girls had finished high school. 3 of them expressed a desire to pursue higher education, while the remaining 3 were inclined towards business and other personal endeavors. The prize money for the talent hunt competition was substantial and would provide a significant support for all of them in their pursuits. Due to this rationale, they opted to register for it. Little did they know it would be the final performance they would share for quite a while. They dedicated themselves wholeheartedly to preparing for the competition. They opted for an a cappella style and dedicated themselves to extensive practice to ensure that everyone's parts were executed flawlessly. When they finally took to the stage in the competition, it was an immediate hit. They received a standing ovation from both the judges and the audience. Their performance quickly gained popularity online. They emerged victorious in the competition and quickly gained popularity on social media. The girls were approached by a major record label and were offered a highly profitable record deal. They responded positively and expressed their willingness to consider it. Shortly after, as the girls were still contemplating the offer, an unfamiliar woman approached their door. She exuded beauty, elegance, and a sophisticated sense of style. Julius opened the door, assuming the woman had come to present an opportunity to the girls. Recently, they received multiple offers for modeling, brand endorsements, commercial deals, and more. Many people were eager to join in on their growing popularity. However, the woman made it clear to Julius that she had no interest in any of that. She asked to be shown the girls. Julius was initially hesitant, but her pleading gaze won them over. They displayed a mix of kindness and sadness simultaneously. Julius had taken in the girls a decade ago, only to uncover a startling revelation about them years later. When they were all sat in the sitting room, the woman presented herself to the family as Ariel, the woman's biological mother. There was a noticeable gasp in the room. Ariel decided to share her life story with him. Her parents were financially disadvantaged and lacked education. They arranged for her to marry a significantly older man in exchange for financial gain. The man was overjoyed when Ariel became pregnant, fulfilling his desire for an heir. However, he became upset when complications arose due to the multiple babies that she was carrying. He was feeling frustrated as Ariel had been hospitalized for several weeks, and he was responsible for covering the expenses. The girls were born via C-section a few weeks ahead of schedule. The hospital generously waived the fees for the extended period that the girls spent in the incubator. Ariel's husband was frustrated by the fact that all of the 6 babies turned out to be girls. Unfortunately, the doctors had advised him against getting Ariel pregnant again for quite some time, as her body needed time to heal. He had begun mistreating Ariel, but she persevered for the sake of her children. However, as the girls reached the age of 3, he began to consume alcohol and his behavior became increasingly aggressive. When the girls turned 4, she brought them to an orphanage and presented them as orphans. It was the only solution to ensure their well-being, as she lacked the means to support them. She had instructed to the girls to stick together under any circumstances, assuming that they would come back to locate them. For years, Ariel had managed to get by with various odd jobs. She had been employed at a quaint bed and breakfast and had gained the approval of the owner, an elderly woman who entrusted her with the business after her demise. Ariel successfully transformed the business into an exclusive resort through determination and perseverance. Upon her return, she discovered that her children had mysteriously vanished. She stumbled upon their performance videos from the competition and was thrilled to have finally discovered them. The girls expressed remorse for the hardships their mother had endured and reconciled with her. She informed them of the unfortunate news of their biological father's passing. Unfortunately, he had a mishap while under the influence and ended up injuring his neck. Ariel expressed her gratitude to Julius and Mildred for their generous treatment of her daughters, and she extended an invitation to everyone for a month-long getaway at the resort, which included Mildred and Julius. Ariel became a mother to 6tuplets at the age of 19, and the girls were already 19, making her 38 years old. She was still single and not involved with anyone. Julius, at the age of 43, was also single. While staying at the resort, they developed a mutual attraction, which the girls took notice of. Ariel and Julius eventually succumbed to the subtle matchmaking efforts and began dating. Shortly after, Julius popped the question, and Ariel said yes. They tied the knot, and Ariel happily settled into a new chapter of her life with a man she adored, her 6 lovely daughters, and her supportive mother-in-law.